This is your daily market review for Wednesday, January 4th, 2022.
Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well.
This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent. This is your daily market recap for Wednesday, January 4th, 2023. Let's get into it. Hopefully you're having a great day. I know a lot of people confused what's going on. People have a lot of thoughts, ideas. They're reaching out, asking for help, trying to clarify what is going on. And the evidence they always point to is this is what the news is saying, and they don't recognize such. It drives me crazy to realize or to recognize with these folks. You're asking questions that are referring to what the news is telling you and trying to dictate that you should do to be safe in the market. That is like asking a shark, where should you swim not to be eaten if you're in the ocean? These conversations are what they are. Again, I'm not angry about them, but I just find them to be very almost sad, essentially, because as we teach in this channel, you are the maker of your own destiny. The lone wolf, the one who looks at the evidence and whose probability base is the one who finds success. Because, again, in a game where the goal is to take the most amount of money from the most amount of people, doing what everybody's doing does not get the big money, does not bring success, does not lead to long-term success. So, on that note, let's talk about really quickly where we're at in the market, right? Jobs number coming Friday. Everybody knows jobs number expectations are 200,000 versus 220, 230,000, depending if it's non-farm or private payrolls. Decelerating job growth. We've been talking about that for 6 months. Okay, market's down at certain levels. Well, you have seasonality effects. You have what looks like a base is building, and everybody is bearish. Everybody bearish is how the market climbs the wall of worry. You should be very nervous when everybody's bullish at the highs or very bearish at the lows. Or it's like I say, and again, some of you guys and gals who've been around recognize, hey, at the lows when everybody was bullish didn't mean the market had bottomed yet. And the same thing is going on. The psychology. Now, again, I could be wrong here, but the probabilities and the odds and what everything's saying says we're going higher. And it's just a matter of when, what starts the catalyst. Now, how high? Probably somewhere around the 400 plus level on the SPY. But at this point, bears. I mean, I get trolled. I get people talking all this junk. And it's like, hey, where's your evidence that you're winning, right? If you're, and again, you could be trading around your position short, which no one has a problem with. Trading around the position has been the key to success here. So please be safe, be thoughtful, trade around your positions, but know that I feel like the market's probably going to resolve higher before lower. Again, why? Because everybody's seeing it the opposite. And we know seasonality effects, if you follow the channel, lead to higher prices in the January effect and also earnings. Because we're going to talk about it. Like CRM today said they're cutting 10% of their workforce. What does the stock do? Rises 3.5%. Things that should not happen if the market's about to dump. If you're newer to the channel and you've been busting your butt, learning, studying, or new to trading, again, the Discord room is for people who, when the student is ready, the teacher appears kind of thing. I can't teach you how to trade. I would follow on Twitter. It's a good starting place to follow what's going on, keep you informed of things. But the people want to get in the Discord room, I want this room to be 30 or 40 people and ultimately be people who are passionate about learning and studying. Nerds of the game, loving it. And here's where, if you want to start, this is where all the information is, the Back to Basics series. Please like, subscribe, follow. I guarantee if you pay attention to this stuff, it starts to make sense when you watch the recaps. Watch all of the recaps or whatever part you're focused on in the trades that you're in, because the market is evolving. If you're looking for easy answers in a probability-based game, it's no different than learning how to play poker, learning a new job, whatever. Experience with knowledge is the key. Knowledge without experience does not mean as much. And so this is where all of these little tricks and trades of what we talk about in the markets, how they relate to the market, is how the recaps hopefully will guide you to make better decisions, be a better trader, and ultimately it's getting rich comes from trading well. I tell this to people all the time. Are you trading well? Are you doing the basic stuff to grow? Are you minimizing losses? Are you learning to identify setups and trades that are winning? And when you're wrong, you're gone as quick as possible, potentially. Bitcoin, had a good conversation with my good friend here, Chuck, today. Said the same thing. He's like, Bitcoin just looks stuck. Now, seeing Bitcoin trade in a couple $100 range is rather rare. But we'll see. Could it be compressing to pop? The levels matter. And we talk about that. Levels matter. This area, right, matters. You haven't gotten down this low down to 13,000, but you're at some levels from previous in November 2020, and you're holding around here. If it holds, good. It's an easy trade if you can be patient, because that's the problem. And I tell this to people all the time in the Discord room, people who follow. If you are trying to time the market, not price the levels, the timing's the hardest part. If you can get in at the levels and be patient, that's where it's easier to trade. When you're trying to get in at a price and expect to be right immediately, that can be the trouble, because time is the thing the market controls. You and I don't control when something starts or when it ends, essentially. So Bitcoin, you can buy it down here with tight stops. When does it start? I don't know. But if you're willing to be patient, and the big money's in the big trades, right? Well, you got to be patient. Let it play out. So Nat gas. Got a lot of questions about this. And we talked about peeling out, letting it go. People who were trading it, great. People who held on to it, don't know what you're doing. That's not how we trade. We don't hold on to the losers. Eventually we have to cut. And sometimes we cut a little later than we want. But naturally, you just at some point you have to admit when you're wrong. We talked about how last year's action was very choppy and sloppy, pop and then drop. Here's your pop and here's your drop. Well, straight line moves precede the end of the move, right? We talk about that a lot, right? Straight line moves precede the end of the move. Straight line move precedes it. Well, that's a pretty straight line down move. Could it go lower? Ultimately, long term, who the hell knows? This action, though, feels like a bottom. Does it V, or is it a chop multi-day range, or is it a retest? Those are typically your standard issue top and bottom formations, right? Double top. Here's your head and shoulders, left shoulder, right shoulder, head. Here's your head and shoulders, but also you could say the right shoulder is a chop top. If you want to trade natural gas, watch what happens here. Watch it stick the lows. Know your levels. Oil. Now, here's where the thing is. I've been talking about oil that I missed the bottom, right? I mean, I admit when I'm wrong. But we talked about oil potentially going down to 68, 65. Didn't happen. It bounced, said, all right, well, you know what? I'm not going to chase it. I don't expect you to chase it. I wouldn't chase it. That's just absolutely silliness. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Well, now it pulls back. And what do we like? Said in the mid-70s. Well, look at here. You're back testing the trend line. Look at all these levels right here around 73. Now, again, please don't bring a freaking ruler to trading. I hate when people get super exact. 73, 74. What did the low of the day? I mean, 72, 72, 85, 73, whatever. Doesn't matter. No. Let's watch what happens here. I love the back test of trend lines. When you break out, if you're not familiar with this, I probably need to do a recap on this or a back to basics. The back test of the downtrend or uptrend before the start of a next move is a very difficult trade setup because, again, it's confusing, right? You break out, now you're back testing it, it looks weak. This formation, if it is legit, can usually lead to a springboard higher. Now notice how this could look like a head and shoulders bottom, and this is the right shoulder. So you have a head and shoulders bottom and a back test of the old trend line. Now, people are saying, well, I can't pull the trigger today, or I'm not sure. You know what? That's trading. You don't know until you bet it. You get pocket aces, you still can lose, damn it. Well, if I'm talking about a good setup here with risk reward, you're probably looking at it right here, folks. Got to hold. Got to hold the 73, mid-70s. If not, go back to 70. I mean, always possible. Could it be a double? Double top, double bottom? Yeah. But if the market's holding up, I've said it 1,000 times, I don't see oil peeling back much more than this. The dollar, people are getting excited like it's going to break out. I've said this many times. I think it's bottoming, but I did the time-wise. I don't know. I don't know when it's go. Hey, kitty cat. If you look at last January, Feb, I'm always amazed when people ask questions and they don't look in the rearview mirror. They don't study the past. Look what happened in December, January, and February 2022. It just chopped around in a big range. Are we starting that? I mean, I've said possibly the 200-day and then chop. Personally, I think dollar goes higher in time, longer term. There's like the blowout top. But near term, I think it could play this game where it just bases out. I have no desire to trade it. And again, I think the market would love stability in the dollar. Same thing with the bond market. TLT. Talked about the 100 area being rather weird, how we just went and pulled right back. And then we had multi-day range. And here we go. Gapping goes higher. Now it's dojing a little bit, hammering. The market's going to like if rates creep down, TLT up. Just telling you right now. Because if they're raising rates and the market's pulling back, either there's two things going on. An imminent monster recession, which is possible, or the market's getting comfortable with deflation and stable rates in a stable market, right? We don't know the answer to that, right? I think it's a combination of both, one before the other, meaning that stability would be like, then the recession comes later, because ultimately this inflation entrenches in. But I've talked about it 1,000 times. I still think interest rates chopping around, making a higher. Stop it, Siri. Seeing interest rates act as they are, market's comfortable with it. Now the market would hate if rates went much lower. I mean higher. Sorry, rates went lower. The rates went higher. TLT dumped. If it builds a base and gets stable here, and doesn't go straight line move up north like it's heading to the moon, then the market's comfortable with. I mean, again, think about historically 5-6% interest rates. All right, you got to get out of here. You can't get on the mic, sweetheart. VIX. Everybody's buying put protection and the market's not dumping. That's not how you dump. I'm telling you right now, if the market gets comfortable with risk on and hedged, it feels very reminiscent of, here, let's just pull up the SPY. Because again, look what's happening, chopping. This is what happened the last time the market was really hedged and expecting to dump. Where was it? In my mind, this is where I remember very specifically one of the last times. It was up here. And then it pulled back, and then it just kept climbing higher. Now, I'm not saying we're going into a multi-year bull market or it's all over for the bears. I think what's going to happen here is you're going to get a test of somewhere. Now, again, probably hit the 20, 50, 100-day, all crossing, it could back off. I still think at some point you're going to retest higher because you have a ton of cash on the sidelines. It has to be put to work. And you have a ton of people who are stuck. So it puts you in an equilibrium point where I think we're going to chop. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, that's not a direction. Well, no shit, Sherlock. The market doesn't always go in one direction. If you don't remember the past and you don't know it, then you don't realize at times the market goes nowhere for months. And it can go there for years if you build bigger trading ranges. Now, are we in that right now? It feels like a lot like it because you got China news, reopening, and then COVID. Then you had, shutdowns, travel shutdowns, shopping shutdowns, whatever. The market's taking it like a champ. It's like getting punched in the face and it's not reacting. You better be aware of that because, again, a lot of people think the market's going to roll over. And if everybody's believes such, that's what everyone thinks, you better be careful. Because remember down here, it's going to the dirt. Rallies back. We're making new highs. We're going to a bull market. Everything's great. Up here is a little choppier, sloppier, but it feels like we might play the retest game, make a slightly higher high. Remember the S&P collar going on by JP Morgan. They got 4030 to 3600. They're expecting the market to go nowhere for the next 3 months. Qs. They got a big collar position on from what I've read. Again, it's hard to tell when you look at the options chain. It's not like they're the only ones acting anymore. QQQ, making a higher low here. Basing out. We'll see. I've said this for a while. QQQ, gonna lag. Leave it alone. I mean, pick your names wisely. Be thoughtful. If you want to trade Tesla, got a little bit of that, at the range lows. Got some roadblocks. I mean, pick your names well. Certain names are acting better than others. Freaking Netflix. You son of a biscuit. Missed that one. IWM. What did we talk about? Leading? Well, lagging here, and then the market dumped. It's leading up. If you looked at today, the market was up, 0.75%. This was up a 1.25. Holding up really well. We'll see what happens here. Because, ideally, for the bulls, you'd like to see this rise and the market follow, or the fall market, like S&P rise and IWM confirm it. Now, near term, tough to know. But I think still people don't realize, look at 2021 all the way to 2022. IWM traded between 207 and essentially 240. It's a 15% range of pain and frustration. Here was it 2019? The whole year essentially traded in a 15-point range. I'm telling you right now, if you don't understand chop, you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, and you think the markets are always going in the straight line to the next move up or tanking down, you are an absolute novice who doesn't understand the markets. Because that's part of the game, is going sideways is how you confuse and trick people to give up their positions or to overtrade. And the market makers love it. Da 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 da. All right, let's keep going. It's gold. As I said, I'm not shorting this. I'm looking for dips to buy. It just keeps gapping up and dojing. Now you're at the 0.618 from an old. Where's it start? Bottom. Where's the bottom here? Oh, sorry. Why is that one? Oh yeah, this is the up move. This is not the fib I really want. Where does it start? It's this one here. It's an old 0.618. Let's redraw it right now because I have a feeling. Again, I have it on different time frames, different setups. Yeah. I figure we're probably at worst at the 50% fib. Now you're coming into resistance. You have some resistance here from the past. I guess we should. That's why I wanted to redraw the fib. It's like definitely a completed down move. I mean, you've started an up move, but how much is left? I love gold long term. I've shown you on the monthly cup and handle. We talked about buying it down here, trading it, taking most of the profits here, and now it's running higher. Now what? Well, you just got to let it come to you. Well, oh, what if it goes to the moon? Well, guess what? Along the way to the moon, it's going to take a break. I promise you. We'll wait for dips to buy. I'm not doing anything right now. Silver. People are like, oh, what's the signal today? What's going on with it? Again, silver can lag. Sometimes it can lead. Watch what happens the 20-day. I said that. Like, you really can't get a lot of knowledge from it from chopping. Because, look, it's been in a chop zone for like 3 weeks. Making higher highs and higher lows. Watch what happens when it touches the 20-day. GDX miners finally bust a move, breaking out. That's typically not bearish. But is this a novice gap? Just be on red alert. Now, because, again, everyone loves the miners. I'm telling you right now. There's seasonality in their favor. But last year was rather frustrating because you saw the same kind of move where you broke out, you went up, and then you went. So could we play in this game where you break out and chop around, come back maybe to the 27s? Could be interesting. Could be interesting. If it goes, it goes, and we'll find entries later. GDXJ, same thing, playing games, boom, gaps out. Gaps up and out of where it's been stuck. Again, haven't shorted this. The easy money was taken. Nice but it's confirmed, going higher. Here's where I get, and this is where we talk about confusion. AG, you would think would be up in the 9, 10 range. It's barely under 9. I mean, it's barely in the upper 8s. Worth watching. Let's just roll through this. AEM, been a leader, holding up. Nice little gap up. Back, probably coming into resistance right there around 55. Fill some gaps. If you got it, trade it. Newmont. We talk about this, being the biggest piece of junk, but it's a leader. It's the biggest part of the GDX. Fills the gap. Now what? Good question. Could it get up to the 200-day? Maybe. Maybe. I mean, it's one of those things where at this point, if you have... I mean, because I don't really know a lot of people long or short this, because I've tried to explain to people, like, the miners are really hard. If you want to overtrade them or take your time trading them, I get it. Do what you got to do. At this point, if you're long it, the more you're up, the less you own. That's what I keep telling people. And they're like, oh, I got to hold forever. And it's like, all right, well, good luck. PAAS broke out. Decent volume. Okay volume. Do you trust it? I don't know. Maybe it comes into the trend line. All these names, essentially, and this is the thing we talked about. If you own them, great. Shorting them, be very careful and have stops. And if you decide you need to buy them, please wait for dips. I mean, that's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing. MU, interesting today. Action, gap up. Close at the high of the day. AMD, kind of flattish. AM Dizzle, chopping here. Interesting. NVIDIA up 3% today. Again, holding higher lows, basing. SMH up a whopping 2.5%. Again, if the market's about to dump, why is this up near the higher end of the range coming off the lows? This stuff doesn't look terrible, y'all. I'm just trying to point through the evidence because the bears will come out and go, the market's going to crap out and you're done. Okay, I'm just telling you right now, it's not that simple. Adobe holding high and tight. Doesn't look terrible. Apple. Talked about it yesterday, that long wick. If you watch, not even long wick, just the way it closed, you need more information. Well, look what happens today. It gaps up and chops in indecisiveness. Another day of more information needed. Amazon. Hit the 20-day, backs off. Oh, I need to update this. All right. Well, now what? Again, it doesn't look terrible, but these names have been absolutely beaten. Let's see what happens. I mean, you can trade them if you want. Smoke them if you got them, bro. CRM. Here you go. Again, guides. Did they guide today? I don't know. I know they cut off 10% of their workforce. Look what the stock does. Gaps up. I don't know if I would call that necessarily bearish or bullish. Like, you'd like to see a more continuing pattern, but the price action alone, it's still closed up 3.5%. Guggenheim holds up, pops up, closes back near yesterday's lows, holds the 8-day, which is interesting, like traps below it. Like, if that's a bear trap, like Apple, like you go below it, come right back, be on red alert. Meta. Here you go. Said it was coming. Here comes Santa Claus. Here comes. Said for a while, I thought we'd fill this gap. Trend line, maybe the 100-day. Someone shorted this last week, and they were bragging about it and talking about it. And I just was like, I wouldn't short this. This isn't a stock coming off the highs. This stock has been absolutely shredded. Let it breathe. It's kind of like chasing gold. Like, you got to let it pull back. Well, here, Meta, let it rise. Let it rise. I'm telling you, just let it rise. Even if you don't like it, you think it's a piece of crap, you hate Zuckerberg, whatever. Don't have just let it rise. That's the best thing. Just short. Microsoft gets a big downgrade today. Fills the gap. I mean, that's all it really did is kind of fill it. I mean, technically that's not the gap, but that is a window. Yeah, tough to know. Tech. How fun is tech? Trying to figure it out every day. NDAQ, right? Should be rolling over. No, outside, looks up, closes basically flat. MicroStrategy. All right, here you go. Tech should be rolling over. We talked about this. Retesting the lows. You're welcome. If you took this trade, hit me up. Let me know. I'm excited for you. Got in 135. Man, that's 30 points pretty quickly. Damn, smoke. Damn, Smokey. Doesn't look bad. 20-day next. I would watch the 187. Watch that on a cop. Right? Isn't that like the codes? 187 on a mudda cop. I don't want to curse. But here you go. I mean, you can tell there's a big zone here. If it gets to it, it's probably going to at least base out. Netflix, son of a biscuit. Talked about buying it here. Look at that. Things that aren't bearish. I love the ex people who are bears and just like love to troll. Because again, try not to be bullish or bearish. Try to because again, the key to being great at trading is admitting when you're wrong and pivoting. It's not marrying your beliefs and believing the market's not in control. It's like pretending that there's a God and then you're not going to listen to God, or he's going to you have a genie and you're like, oh, I'm not going to follow your wishes, or I don't even know what the best way to describe it, but the market is the market. Do what the market's doing and you get paid. If you try to impose your will on the market, impose your beliefs, and you're wrong, that's the problem. If you pose them on them and you're right, it works. It seems that simple, right? But it's not. All right, here you go. Netflix. I mean, we talked about it. Congrats if you bought it. I mean, it's probably coming back up into the gap in the upside target zone, which would be, trying to talk a little faster for these videos today, get you up into the 334, 335. Roblox, hell yeah, love the close. Hell yeah. Love the close. Talked about it, hey, let it base out playing games. Well, it closes right back to the 20-day. Said yesterday at some point it could probably snap up. But Dan, yesterday it looked like it was going to roll over. Look at this. Again, can you predict every day in a freaking trend? No, shut the hell up. Stop trying. Just be thoughtful. If the trend's your friend, let it run. Trade around your positions. Again, trade around your positions, which means, say you got 1,000 shares and you're unsure, take off 300 shares. And if it drops and it holds levels, then you can buy it back. Or if you need to, stop out and then rebuy. But you at least made profit on the 1,000 shares. Or the 700 shares. Or 300 shares. Put some in your pocket, paid yourself, and then you move back. I mean, it's all about money management. The traders who get it win. Tesla, we talked about retesting at some point. We got it. I didn't take this because the stock just looks so bad to me. And it could be just in one of these chop cycles. I saw some other stuff I like today better. Still got some shares. Gonna let it play out. How excited. Again, if you sold the Tesla Q 90, 95, 85 calls out, looking good. Decay time. Letter X. Holding up. Again, materials names don't look terrible. Oh, man, the market's about to dump. Why are these names up near the highs, not at the lows? Oh, I don't know. Exactly. I think you haven't got the wipeout you're expecting coming. Nucor, look at this. Opens up. Shrink. Doesn't look that bad, right? Oh, market's about to dump. Okay. VALE. Close at the high of the day. Comes off the lows. Dinker. doesn't look that bad. Arrow, copper, talked about it. Looks like money's coming into materials today. Seems like it missed it yesterday. Gap, maybe not necessarily oil, but the commodity companies. Gap's up. I don't know. Flat. CCJ. I mean, again, does it look that bearish? Not at the lows. Holding up. I don't know. CF, let me take some time to talk about it, because this is where like stops matter, getting stopped out, trusting that, you know, like waiting. If you waited for the 80 levels, awesome sauce. I mean, there's my alarm. It's been set. What do? We hit it today and bounce. And yesterday's action, I said, look at the close. Somebody was buying. Oh, go look at the monthly. You're at the 20-month. You're at the monthly range lows. I give up on CF. You're an idiot. Okay. I mean, trust me, we've all felt like idiots. You can call me an idiot, because I'm not omnipotent. I'm not going to sell you that I can be right all the time, nor can you. See what happens when it gets down here again, because I think now you've gone from, 110 to 80. And I know fertilizer prices, all that stuff have pulled back. Someone could argue it's an M top. I think this is a big choppy range. Food inflation's here to stay. Mosaic, this is one we did buy at the lows and been holding on to. Talked about last week buying it in the 43 range. No, I think, it was over Christmas, holidays. Yeah, 43 range. Again, didn't knock my stops. Holding on to it. Liking it. I mean, it's just holding here. I mean, this is a major support zone. It's the highs there, the lows there, the highs here. All right, well, give it some time. It's kind of like Roblox. Maybe it doesn't just start ripping one day. NTR, we talked about coming back to 71. If you see it in the 71, it's probably a gift. We'll look at it. Starting to form another base. The volume's starting to pick up. Maybe the holidays, all this was just a move to exacerbate down and chop and move stuff around. AA, here you go. You're welcome. Talk about buying the dips on this sucker. Buying the 41. Buying the 41s. Here you go. Ripping up. Taking some profits. Starting to buy dips. There you go. I mean, if you're in it, the bottom is in. It's just whether you get a retest if the market slams or not. And if the market holds up, I think this is going to rally. Look at Boeing. Look at some of these names. They're flying high, y'all. All right, let's get through some of this. Let's try to wrap this up soon. XBI, right? Oh, it should be dumping. This thing should be nowhere the lows. Bears are winning. No, choppy. Just leave it alone. XLF. Oh, Dan, you said this thing is, the XLF is leading. Be careful. Yeah, bears, look at this. Alarm went off at 35 today. No, I got it a little higher. Sorry, I've had a few alarms go off today. But if the market's about to roll, why are financials rallying? Again, I love to see in the 35, 36 range. JP Morgan, yeah, right? Like the financials are definitely roll. Oops, they did it. Again, things that aren't bearish, and people just love to troll. And it's like, if financials are looking good, now again, this action could be distributive. A doji and a hammer, right? Up at resistance. I mean, what if it just goes sideways like this before the market rolls over? That's the thing, right? Like, the market is what it is, but if you're bearish and signals aren't showing, like, the whole market isn't bearish, then you got to be careful, man. I'm telling you, because the market, remember, shorting is a trade. Investing is long term. Most people think of, like, especially like think about fund flows. They come into the market to go long. Fund flows don't come in to go short, so it naturally drifts higher when there's indecision, or if you hit levels and the market seems calm, because that's where we get into oil here shortly. Like, that's why it's holding up, I think, and possibly going to bounce. Solar holding multiple day range. Keep it simple. ENPH. Man, really playing games around 250, right? Trying to get that 200-day, son, huh? Watch it. If that 200-day hits, the first test of a 200-day typically is a bounce, like every single time. Now, someone will say, every single time? You sure? And they'll say, well, not always. Here you go. Here's the first test. Right? Now, then it started bouncing, but the first drop down, I guess it went a little below it, but he did get a bounce, and then it became support. It has a history. I'd be watching it. Now, again, would I go long it? Probably not, but here's your lows, 234. And again, this is hard. If you're shorted from the high, hell yeah. If you're not, probably leave the stuff alone. Cedriton, holding up, building up. Of course, multiple moving averages can be support. First Solar, trying to tell people, stop shorting this. Wait. You didn't get the top, or if you did, you got to take most of your profits. Because you go 1673 down to, go down 30 points and the market starts basing. This thing could probably backtest the trend line and rip rally higher just to screw with you. And that's part of it. Again, because if the market isn't dumping, leadership rotates, money flows. And if you're going against the flow, it hurts. Let's go through oil real quick. We talked about 64, 65 level months ago, right? You got it. All right, there you go. I mean, it's pretty simple. I love it. Take it for a trade. UNG, we've talked about how it's like the distributive action just kept going like dump, 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 dump. Yesterday's actually doji, nice little gap up. Now again, UNG is decaying. Be very careful how you play natural gas. But if nat gas, like we showed you earlier, is starting to pop, well, guess who else should pop? XOP. Set my alarm at 129 and said if it gets down to this trend line area, I got to buy it. It opened down there. Before I could even think about it, it started rallying. If you saw the 10-minute, right off the open, huge. Like Donald Trump huge. Here you go. I'll show it to y'all. Huge. Look at this. Zinger. Right off the open. Somebody was buying. All right. Well, here we go. I mean, now, could it come right back? Yes. Don't chase. Don't chase. Don't chase. Again, tried to add today under 128, 128s, 127s as much as I could in the first day, thinking like, crap, that might be it. We'll see what happens. Be safe. Be thoughtful. Because, again, this is gone. Everybody hates this. It goes from 160. I mean, it drops 25%. Everybody hates oil. Everybody hates gas. The only person likes gas is Kramer and oil. That's interesting. SPRs are getting refilled. The government just bought February 80s future contracts. I mean, well, the oil's at 74 and they go into 80, and maybe they're going to try to get them to pay higher. I don't know. We don't know. ExxonMobil, this one today a little not great, right? Like come on, Exxon. There you go. You would think this would be higher, but look what it did. Open low, close high. I mean, it has been holding up. Looks way better than XOP, right? That's right. That's right. That's all fair. Oxy, like gap down, closes right here. Need more information. PX Dizzle, man, you have support resistance. I mean, some people are talking about buying it down here. I get it. You missed it. But those were your spots. I mean, I really want it down here now because I'm a greedy fuck. Excuse my language. Greedy. But no, I'm not really. I'm just greedy when I want prices I wait for. Sometimes it doesn't work out. That's why I was joking with someone today. They're like, oh, I'm waiting for oil to go under 70. I'm like, I don't know if it's going to happen. Good, but you never know. Here you go. Hold here. Nice rally back. I mean, some of these names are starting to look interesting. Even crappy EQT said yesterday, I was like, I feel like that could be the bottom. Now take out that candle over there. A decent volume, a long wick. I know it closed at the lows, but when you saw the open today, I mean, this is engulfing, eating it up. So maybe this is all about to rise. If you have questions, please reach out. I'm here to help. Real estate, real estate, real estate. I'm telling you, the goal is to buy a property every year. My search, my hunt begins. We got our tenant in. Going to be buying something every year for the next 10 years. Want to show you how, why, the tax benefits, depreciation, all this great stuff. Because ultimately, taking capital out of the market and putting into assets that are going to pay yourself is the key to real wealth. Because again, having a big trading account means you have big risk. Oh, what if you buy a rental and somebody trashes the house? Well, again, that's why you have insurance. You don't have insurance against your losses in trading. Or you don't have the tax benefits or bypassing capital gains with trading. You do with real estate, 1031 exchanges, all these little things. I'm here to help. I want people to realize, like, if you're paying yourself and you start taking thousands of dollars a month out of the market consistently, then you should be paying yourself and paying and looking at a mortgage to buy something. If you build up reserves, if you're safe, and then buy a property and have a tenant, build up those reserves, keep them there. Rainy day fund, pay your taxes, pay yourself, go on a nice trip with your family. But they're building up just in case if you ever have a month without rent or something happens. But I'm telling you, real estate in the next 5 to 10 years feels very similar to 1970s, 1980s, where real estate went nuts because there were shortages and inflation. If this is the 1970s redux, I'm telling you right now, your cash is trash. So you're either buying materials, which again are going to be volatile, or you buy real estate that pays you nice, steady income. Screw dividends. No, income from real estate, right? That you can write off. Oh man, all this stuff. So many tax advantages. Anyway, I appreciate everybody. Please reach out if you have any questions. Love you guys. I know this is a long video, but man, this is good stuff. I mean, you got to do this every day. You got to love spending the 30 minutes. You got to love spending the time to learn. Talk to you later.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, your PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.